afternoon and welcome everyone. So we want to talk, what we're talking about here is WCB. What is WCB and what was their mandate? Workmen's Compensation Board was created to protect the employers and employees from work-related injuries. Before WCB, the only recourse workers had was to go through the court system. If you had the money to sue your employer, that is. Employers would use the system to their advantage by tying up cases with delay tactics and hope that injured workers would give up. So the creation of WCB was to help both the employers and employees who gained financial assistance while seeking medical attention and rehabilitation. But over the years, WCB has moved into a direction that only seems to serve employers. By hiring their own doctors, one has to wonder whose side WCB is really on. Time after time, I have heard workers being forced back to work before they have received and participated in rehabilitation. One case in particular that I remember was a co-worker who asked me to attend a medical appointment with the WCB doctor because he did not believe or did not want to attend without a witness. As a union representative and consent from the worker, the doctor had no choice but to allow me in the room while he examined him. The doctor asked the worker to raise his arms over his head, which he could not do. The doctor tried to force the arms above his shoulders, at which point the worker complained in sheer agony. At this point, the doctor said the examination is over, as the worker would not allow him to complete the examination. I looked at the doctor, shook my head, and replied, "This is not what he wouldn't, but the action caused him too much pain and agony." Then came the Return to Work program, where if employers would create modified work and have employees return during their rehab, the employee would receive a further reduction in their WCB premiums the employers would receive. This sounds like a good idea, but in the cases that I have heard of, employers tend to return workers too soon, causing further injury and aggravation. This does not take into account the stress of the worker, knowing that if they do not agree to the Return to Work program, they would lose their right to WCB premiums. Just yesterday, in the Edmonton Journal, there was an article from the Auditor General scolding the Alberta government for insufficient headway on identifying and deterring companies who too frequently fail to provide safe workplaces. Mr. Sahur went on to say, and I quote, "Simply put, we believe there could be high-risk employers out there that haven't yet been identified, and the implications of that is that Alberta workers continue to be exposed to otherwise avoidable risk." He goes on further to cite another example of where employers can reduce their premiums. The Certificate of Recognition program can give employers up to 20% reduction in workers' compensation premiums if they implement the appropriate health and safety initiatives. Occupational health and safety shows injury claims have been on the rise in recent years, showing that there were 50,662 disabling injury claims in 2011. That's unbelievable. Up from 46,151 the year previous. Once again, showing us there is a lot more government need and can do to ensure employers protect the health and safety of all workers. In closing, I just want to say an injury to one is an injury to all. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.